In this video, we're going to try to show the customers the easiest way to change out the rubber seal on a 12-inch stainless steel canal gate. There's two types. This particular stainless steel slide gate right here is what you call a flush bottom canal gate. Your typical canal gate has an angle on the bottom, but this is a flush bottom. So the application works good for either or, the flush bottom canal gate or the standard canal gate with the angle on the bottom. Okay, now we're going to take and remove the gate from the backing. This backing is a simulated wall, like you'd have it mounted on your wall out in the field or in a concrete culvert or a ditch or whatever. And I want to make you aware too, the power tools we're going to use, if you use any power tools to remove the gate or anything, you want to make sure and have your safety equipment on. You want to have your glasses on, the proper footwear, headwear, hat if you need it, but always work safely and always remember your safety gear. Safety comes first. Two 1/2 by 2 bolts, and taking these cover guides off will allow us to take the slide out, which will allow us to take the spigot out of the gate, and the spigot is the one that holds and contains the rubber that we're going to replace. You want to make sure the gate's off the wall while you do this, because if you have the gate buttoned down to the wall, you'll have compression on the gasket, and once you loosen these bolts here, it could cause the gate frame to bow out. So it's better just to take the gate off the wall, lay it down in as flattest position as you can get it. Now he's taking out the stem bolt. And what he's going to do, he's going to slightly turn the stem clockwise, and what that's going to do, it's going to go, I'm sorry, not counterclockwise. And what that's going to do, that's going to move the stem completely out of the way of the cover. Lift the slide off. Now we pull the gate spigot out. What John is doing now is taking out the stainless steel retainer bar. It's held in by several 1/4 inch bolts. The retainer bar is stainless steel. It's what holds in the rubber. It's a good idea once you get the rubber out to use anti-lock or anti-seize on the bolts. So when you go to put the nuts back on, there's no galding between the nut and the bolt. And there's the retainer. Sometimes they can be tough. There we go. There we go. That's why it's so important to have them in a flat position in the field. Kind of make it easy on yourself, sort of thing. John's got the new rubber. Make sure the standard holes that we've punched in the rubber lines up, pre-lines up with the studs in the gate. It is possible to put that rubber in there and have it not line up on the studs, but it's pretty easy to see if you look at it, the holes in relation to the holes in the frame, how it goes together. As you can see, that one right there lined right up. We're going to slip back in the retainer. There we go, the retainer's back in. Now all we have to do is fasten down the retainers with the washers and nuts. You want to make sure and always put a washer on the stud so the nut cannot crawl inside the slot. It's on the retainer. On this one here, we already have anti-seize on the studs, but everybody in the field, you might not have any anti-seize with you. It's very important that you have anti-seize or something that'll lubricate the nut and the stud. Like I say, or you could have galding, and that could be bad in the field. And again, like John, whenever you're using power tools, make sure that we use the safety equipment. John's using an impact driver right now. You notice he's got his safety glasses on. That's in case something was to come loose or attempt to hit him in the eye or damage him in that way. We go to tighten this rubber up. If you'll notice, tighten the nuts up on the rubber, you'll notice that John uses a 6 to 12 o'clock pattern. When the retainer starts getting real tight, he'll start at the bottom. He'll start at the bottom of the gate, and he can move either direction, moving up to 12 o'clock from either side. This gives the gasket an even adjustment. These bolts don't have to be real tight, just snug. You can see the retainer bar compressing into the rubber. Again, notice John has went from 6 o'clock to 12 o'clock. There we go. And we're going to put the spigot ring back in the frame. Going to put the slide back in first. We're going to put it back together just like we took it apart. John's going to put the cover guides on. I'm going to put this stem back down, line up the stem hole with the cover, slides all the way on the bottom. Put the stem bolt back in. John's putting the last cover guide on. Even on these side bolts, I'd emphasize using anti-seize compound on those also. They're stainless steel, and we wouldn't want them to gall either. Cover guides should be touching the slide all the way down. There shouldn't be any gaps. The cover guides are slotted for adjustment. John tapped on the cover guide to push the slide down to the rubber for adjustment so there'd be no leaks. Note, you don't want to use an iron hammer. You don't want to use a metal hammer. A rawhide mallet or a dead blow works very good on these. And if you use an iron hammer and it goes back in the water, you're going to see big rust spots on your gates. Now what John's doing, he's taking a feeler gauge. We use a 2/1000 feeler gauge, and he's checking the gap between the rubber and the slide right now. Feeler gauge through it, then you're sealed up. Now we're going to put it back on the wall. Go. Always washers first, then your nut. John's got to use a small impact. Put the nuts back down. Don't take a lot of force because we're just compressing the back gasket, which we'll show you in a minute, up against the wall, concrete wall. There you have it. Let's show you that gasket. As you can see, that gasket is up against the wall evenly all the way around. It's got a good seal. And your gate is tight, and it now has a new seal in it. Through the steps of replacing the rubber seal in the gate, and because this rubber seal has a groutless gasket with it,